Hi, I'm Shane with Hagen's Lighting. You know, the Christmas season's here and it kind of made me feel a little nostalgic, a little reminiscing about family and things that were going on, and it kind of started making me also think about the history of Hagen's Lighting. Not everybody knows about Hagen's and how long we've been around and things that we've been through over the years, so I kind of thought I'd just inform you on what we've been through and when we've started. We've been in Tyler now for 12 years, but most people don't realize that we actually started in Longview in 1965. My grandparents saw the need for lighting in Longview and started a store there on Cotton Street back then, a long time ago. Most people don't realize that we've been around that long. And it's over the years, it's kind of morphed and done a few different things. Like I said, we started with lighting in the beginning. They actually added things like appliances, those type things, and starting off just to kind of find their niche. Even did a lot of what we call wholesale electric back then, but ultimately ended up just doing the lighting thing because they realized that was what they were good at and that was their niche to do. My grandmother, Melba Dahl is her name now, she always had the niche for lighting. The design aspect of it was her thing. She could really help customers a lot by picking out their lighting and designing their homes by doing that. So the Hagen's Lighting started, like I said, started in 1965, kind of rocked along, did pretty well. You know, there were down times like in the 80s where business wasn't just the greatest because the economy wasn't going all that good. Believe it or not, my grandparents actually, like I said, my grandmother's name is now Melba Dahl. They actually did get divorced at one point, and believe it or not, went into competition against each other for a short amount of time. During that time, my grandfather realized that my grandmother was much better at selling lighting than he was. So he gave that up and strictly went into the fireplace business. So he let her do her thing because she was so good at it. Like I said, my grandmother just kept rocking along, and back in the 80s, 90s, you know, she was like one of the only games in town, it seemed like. So everybody knew of Hagen's in Longview, and it was great times. Flash forward a little bit more, early 2000s in that range. My grandmother actually did at one point sell Hagen's Lighting to somebody in Longview. That's where, you know, God started kind of changing the plan and changed how things were going. So when you look at it from then to now, it's a lot different. But sold the business, ended up having to take the business back because it wasn't quite going like they had planned for it to, and building the business back up from there. So at this point in her life, she was pushing 80 years old and still in the lighting business, still one of the best out there at helping customers and doing those things, but you know, getting older where she didn't necessarily want to be working every day. So at that point, my dad has three sisters. They all worked in the business. None of them really wanted to own it or run it, you know, at those times. But my dad decided, you know what, I'm gonna buy the business from you and let you retire. So he did that. Be honest, my dad does something completely different than lighting and didn't really, you know, like it wasn't necessarily just a smooth transition. At that point, he hired somebody to run Hagen's. It went okay, but it wasn't really working. And one day he just looked at me and said, Shane, what if you just went over there and took it? And I will say, honestly, that was not ever my plan. That was not ever, I was working with him. I kind of planned on doing that and thought about it and took a leap. So in 2007, I got in the lighting business. I'll never forget one of my first days on the job. Somebody came in and asked for a sconce. I'm gonna be real honest, I had no idea what that was. I kind of looked at my employees and they pointed at one and gave me an idea of what it was, and I helped them the best I could, but I honestly didn't know. So it was a little rough those first few months, but I took it as a challenge, and I started learning lighting the best I could, visiting with my reps, visiting with my customers, just trying to get it all figured out. And from there, we, in late 2008, we saw the opportunity to expand to Tyler. So we did. We came in on Broadway, close to where Hastings and that area used to be, and opened up shop. That was also when the market took a turn, as we all know, that 2008, 2009 time. So again, part of God's master plan, we did not like it at the time, but we actually ended up closing the Longview store at that point. Sometimes it seemed like a huge mistake. We couldn't believe it was happening after being there since 1965. It seemed terrible at the time, to be honest with you. But as things kind of transitioned after that, we started seeing kind of a little bit of the light at the end of the tunnel because the Tyler market has been so good to us. And in 2012, we actually ended up finding the property that we're on now, and decided to make the purchase to move out here on Old Jacksonville. Then in September of 2013, we opened up our new store. And I will say that at that point in Hagen's, in my era at least, that was a game changer. The store is built for what we need. It's a great location for us, and everything's kind of growing this way. So everything from there just kind of started blossoming. So when I think about the holiday and I think about all the things that are going on, and I think about the history of Hagen's and the ups and the downs and the good times and the bad, it's been pretty cool. It's been a learning experience for all of us involved with the Hagen's lighting, and especially for me. I mean, I can say I'm a different person just because I got in this business and the things that I have learned because of it. So it's been fun. It's been interesting. We really look forward to seeing where the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years can take us, with my family and my girls possibly getting involved. Who knows? And we appreciate Tyler. We appreciate the market that you've created for us, and the support that we've gotten from you guys. And we want to wish everybody a happy holidays and a happy new year.